Your biggest problem is thinking too small. Your biggest problem isn't lack of time, talent, or opportunity. It's that you're thinking too small. Most people never realize that the size of their thoughts determines the size of their life. When you think small, you automatically create limits that don't exist. You tell yourself you can't, it's too hard, or it's not for you. And in doing so, you close doors that were never locked. The truth is, the boundaries in your life are not physical, they are mental. Every dream, every goal, and every success begins in your mind. If your thoughts are limited, your results will be limited. If your vision is small, your world will be small. But the moment you allow yourself to think bigger, to imagine what could be instead of what is, you start to expand your reality. Fear is the enemy of big thinking. Fear whispers that you might fail, that people might judge you, that you're not ready. And most people listen. They let fear shrink their dreams down to something safe. But Evy Poumpouras reminds us that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. Fear is nothing more than your mind trying to protect you from growth. If you want to break through, you must learn to silence that voice that tells you to play small. Because when you think small, you live small. When you think big, you create possibilities that others can't even see. Every time you push past fear, your confidence grows. Every time you take a bold step, your capacity expands. Thinking big trains your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles. Your environment plays a powerful role in how big you think. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, not those who make you comfortable. Small thinkers will always try to pull you back down to their level because your ambition exposes their insecurity. But big thinkers will push you higher. They'll question your limits, demand your best, and remind you that comfort kills growth. If you're always the smartest or most motivated person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Growth happens when you're uncomfortable, when you're learning, and when you're forced to stretch beyond what feels possible. Thinking big also builds resilience. When your goals are massive, every setback becomes part of the journey, not the end of it. You stop seeing failure as defeat and start seeing it as feedback. You understand that rejection doesn't define you, it redirects you. The person who dreams small gives up after one failure. The person who dreams big uses that failure as fuel. When your vision is powerful enough, no obstacle can stop you. You'll fall, you'll stumble, but you'll get back up stronger, wiser, and hungrier. Big thinkers are not defined by how many times they fall, but by how many times they rise. Most importantly, the way you think creates who you become. Your thoughts shape your identity, your confidence, and your destiny. If you constantly tell yourself you're not capable, your mind will make that true. But if you decide to think expansively, to believe that you can learn, adapt, and grow, your entire identity transforms. You begin to see yourself not as someone limited by circumstance, but as someone capable of shaping their future. The moment you start thinking bigger, your life begins to rise to meet that vision. So ask yourself today, where have you been thinking too small? Where have you allowed fear, doubt, or comfort to keep you from expanding? Every time you choose small thinking, you choose small living. But every time you dare to think big, you unlock a new level of potential within yourself. Don't let your current reality dictate your dreams. Let your dreams dictate your new reality. Remember, the world will only give you what you believe you deserve. So believe bigger. Dream bigger. Think bigger. Because your biggest problem was never your lack of ability. It was the size of your thinking. Expand your mind, and your life will follow. The power of thinking beyond limits. Every dream, every invention, every great success story began with one simple act. Someone dared to think beyond limits. The greatest tragedy for most people is not that they aim too high and miss, but that they aim too low and hit. The truth is, your thoughts define the boundaries of your life. If your thinking is small, your results will be small. But if your mind is bold, daring, and limitless, you will attract opportunities that most people can't even see. The power of thinking beyond limits lies in your ability to imagine more for yourself than your current reality shows. Because what you think, you eventually become. What you believe is possible shapes the path you walk. Most people live in a box built by their own fears and past experiences. They've been told what's realistic, what's safe, and what's possible, and they accept those limitations as truth. But reality isn't fixed. It's flexible. The boundaries of your life are determined by the size of your thinking. Thinking beyond limits means refusing to accept the world as it is and choosing to see it as it could be. It's the mindset that drives innovation, fuels ambition, and pushes ordinary people to achieve extraordinary things. When you dare to think beyond what seems possible, you stop following and start creating. You stop living by what others think you can do and start discovering what you're truly capable of. However, breaking free from small thinking isn't easy. The human mind naturally seeks comfort, safety, and certainty. It's easier to play small because small feels safe, but safety often kills potential. You can't grow inside the comfort zone. You can't expand when you're trying to protect yourself from risk. Thinking beyond limits means embracing uncertainty, stepping into the unknown, and trusting that you'll figure it out as you go. It's about replacing fear with curiosity and replacing doubt with determination. The greatest risk in life isn't failure. It's never realizing how much more you were capable of because you never dared to think bigger. Fear is the greatest enemy of limitless thinking. It tells you to settle, to stay quiet, to avoid standing out. It convinces you that dreaming big is dangerous or foolish. But fear is nothing more than a story your mind tells you to keep you safe. The moment you stop believing that story, your entire reality changes. Every person who achieved greatness felt fear but acted anyway. They understood that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward despite it. Fear will always be there, whispering doubts in your ear, but you have to choose which voice to listen to lie, the one that keeps you small or the one that calls you higher. Thinking beyond limits also means surrounding yourself with the right energy. You can't think big if you're surrounded by small minds. Your environment has the power to either expand your vision or shrink it. If the people around you are constantly doubting, criticizing, or playing it safe, it's only a matter of time before you start thinking the same way. But when you place yourself in rooms where people dream big, take bold risks, and believe in growth, your mindset begins to shift. You start to believe that more is possible. You start to stretch your imagination and your effort. Growth isn't just about working harder. It's about expanding your mind and your circle to match the life you want to create. Another key part of limitless thinking is understanding that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every big thinker has faced setbacks, criticism, and rejection, but instead of letting those moments shrink their vision, they use them as fuel. Thinking beyond limits requires mental toughness, the ability to keep moving even when things don't go as planned. When your vision is big enough, no obstacle can stop you. You might slow down, but you don't stop. You adapt, you learn, and you grow stronger. The mindset of thinking beyond limits turns every challenge into a lesson and every failure into a stepping stone. But perhaps the most powerful truth is this: your mind is the starting point of every breakthrough in your life. When you think beyond limits, your energy changes, your confidence rises, and the universe begins to respond. You start to attract people, opportunities, and ideas that align with your higher vision. Your outer world expands because your inner world has grown. You begin to act like the person you want to become, not the person you've always been. That's when transformation happens. When your thoughts rise above your circumstances. So if you want to live an extraordinary life, you must stop thinking in ordinary ways. Stop letting fear, doubt, or the opinions of others dictate your potential. Refuse to let your current situation define your future. Expand your vision. Dream without limits. Believe that you are capable of more, because you are. The greatest power you have is your ability to think differently. Every new level of success will demand a new level of thinking. So raise your thoughts, stretch your imagination, and step boldly into the unknown. Remember, this small thinking will never create a big life. The only limits that exist are the ones you accept. Break them, challenge them. Replace them with belief, action, and vision. Because once you start thinking beyond limits, there is no going back. Your life will expand in ways you never imagined. And that's where true freedom begins. Not in your circumstances, but in your mind. The danger of playing it too safe. One of the greatest mistakes people make in life is believing that playing it safe protects them. They think that avoiding risk, staying in their comfort zone, and taking the familiar path will guarantee security and peace. But the truth is, playing it too safe is one of the most dangerous choices you can make. It silently kills your growth, your confidence, and your potential. Safety might feel comfortable, but it often comes at the cost of your dreams. The world doesn't reward those who stay still. It rewards those who dare to move, to take chances, to believe that there's more waiting for them beyond fear. Playing it safe keeps you alive, but it never helps you truly live. From the time we're young, we're taught to be careful, to follow the rules, to do what's expected, and to avoid failure. Society conditions us to seek approval rather than adventure, to choose stability over self-discovery. But what no one tells you is that every great thing in life, success, love, freedom, fulfillment, comes from taking risks. You can't reach your full potential by always walking the easy road. Playing it safe may prevent mistakes, but it also prevents miracles. It keeps you stuck in the illusion of control, afraid to take a leap that could change everything. Every time you play it safe, you choose familiarity over growth, and over time, that becomes a prison built from your own fear. Fear of failure is one of the main reasons people cling to safety. They're terrified of being judged, of making mistakes, of not being good enough. But failure isn't fatal. It's feedback. It's how you learn, how you grow, how you build resilience. The people who achieve great things aren't those who never fail, but those who never let failure stop them. Every failure is simply a lesson in disguise, a test of how much you truly want your dream. Playing it safe doesn't protect you from failure. It guarantees a different kind of failure, the failure of never knowing what could have been. You'll never regret trying and failing as much as you'll regret never trying at all. Evy Poumpouras often speaks about courage, the kind of courage that pushes you to act even when you're scared. Courage isn't about being fearless, it's about making a choice despite fear. When you play it safe, you give fear power over your decisions. You let it decide who you are and what you can do. But the moment you take a risk, even a small one, you weaken fear's control. You start to build inner strength and self-trust. You begin to realize that you can handle more than you thought. Growth only happens when you push yourself beyond what's comfortable. Every time you stretch yourself, your confidence grows. Every time you take a risk, your life expands. Another danger of playing it safe is that it disconnects you from purpose. When you always choose the easy way, you settle for mediocrity. You lose the fire that drives passion, creativity, and ambition. Purpose doesn't thrive in comfort. It thrives in challenge. It grows in moments when you're tested, when you have to rise above your fear and fight for something meaningful. Playing it safe may give you temporary comfort, but it robs you of the deep satisfaction that comes from progress and contribution. It's like living on autopilot. You might go through the motions, but you're not truly alive. Your spirit was built for movement, for challenge, for growth. And when you deny that, you deny your true potential. The people who make the biggest impact in the world are those who stopped playing it safe. They took risks when it didn't make sense. They bet on themselves when no one else would, and they believed in possibilities others couldn't see. They understood that safety is an illusion, that comfort zones are meant to be broken. If you never step outside of what feels comfortable, you'll never discover who you could have become. Every extraordinary life begins with one brave decision. The decision to stop playing small and start playing bold. There's another truth we often forget. Time is the only thing we can't get back. Every day you spend playing it safe is a day you can't reclaim. One day you'll look back and realize that the moments that mattered most weren't the ones where you stayed comfortable. They were the ones where you took a leap. The moments where your heart raced, where you didn't know the outcome but did it anyway. That's where life happens. In the uncertainty, in the risk, in the unknown, playing it safe might keep you from failure, but it also keeps you from greatness. So, what does it mean to stop playing it safe? It means being willing to fail forward. It means saying yes to opportunities that scare you. It means trusting yourself enough to take risks, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. It means replacing the question, "What if I fail?" with, What if I fly? Because what's the point of surviving if you're not truly living? Playing it safe might keep you secure, but it will never make you fulfilled. The people who live with purpose, passion, and power are the ones who take bold action, who bet on themselves, who trust their instincts, who step into the unknown with faith instead of fear. The next time you find yourself hesitating because you're afraid to take a risk, remember this: safety might protect you today, but it will cost you tomorrow. Growth doesn't happen in the shallow end. It happens when you dive in. Don't let fear dictate your future. Don't let comfort keep you trapped in mediocrity. Choose courage over comfort, growth over safety, and purpose over fear. The biggest danger isn't failing. It's never daring to try. Life rewards the bold, so take the leap. Your future self will thank you for not playing it safe. Breaking the limits of your mind. The greatest prison that most people live in isn't made of walls or bars. It's built inside their own minds. The limits you believe in, the doubts you feed, and the fears you nurture become invisible chains that hold you back from your true potential. You might think your circumstances are what keep you stuck, but the truth is, it's your mindset that defines your boundaries. The mind is powerful. It can either expand your world or shrink it. If you want to achieve greatness, you must first break free from the limits of your own thinking. The life you desire begins the moment you decide to challenge the thoughts that tell you it's impossible. Every person has two voices inside them, one that pushes forward and one that holds back. The first is the voice of growth, courage, and possibility. The second is the voice of fear, doubt, and comfort. Most people spend their lives listening to the second voice. They let it convince them that their dreams are too big, that they're not ready, or that they might fail. And slowly, that becomes their truth. They live small not because they have to, but because they've convinced themselves they must. The first step in breaking the limits of your mind is realizing that every limitation you believe in is self-created. You are not your fears. You are not your past. You are the one who chooses which voice to listen to. Evy Poumpouras often says that strength is not just physical, it's mental. The way you think determines the way you act, and the way you act determines the life you create. If you think weak, you will act weak. If you think powerful, you will act powerful. Breaking mental limits begins with awareness. Start noticing the stories you tell yourself. Stories like, I can't. I'm not ready. I'm not enough. These stories are lies your fear uses to protect you from change. But change is exactly what you need to grow. When you replace those thoughts with stronger ones. I can learn. I will figure it out. I am capable. Your entire energy shifts. You begin to move differently, speak differently, and see the world differently. Your mind has infinite potential, but most people never access it because they don't challenge it. They think the same thoughts every day, live by the same beliefs, and repeat the same habits. The human brain loves patterns. It prefers the familiar over the unknown. But the familiar never leads to transformation. If you want to break limits, you must disrupt those patterns. You must question your own thinking. Every time you hear yourself say, I can't, ask, why not? Every time your mind tells you something is impossible, demand proof. Because more often than not, your limits are illusions, mental walls you built long ago based on fear, failure, or someone else's opinion. The people who achieve greatness are not born different. They just think differently. They train their minds the way athletes train their bodies, with discipline, focus, and persistence. They understand that mindset is a muscle, and if you don't use it, it weakens. They feed it with empowering beliefs, with learning, with challenges. They don't avoid discomfort, they embrace it, because they know discomfort is where growth happens. To break the limits of your mind, you must learn to become comfortable being uncomfortable. You must be willing to fail, to look foolish, to take risks, because every step beyond your comfort zone is a step toward a stronger mind. Another way to expand your mind is to change your environment. The people and places you surround yourself with either stretch your thinking or shrink it. If you're constantly around negativity, doubt, and fear, you'll unconsciously absorb it. But if you place yourself in spaces filled with ambition, inspiration, and growth, your mind naturally starts to rise. Energy is contagious. You can't expect to think big if you're surrounded by small minds. Surround yourself with people who challenge your limits, who push you to grow, who refuse to let you settle for average. When you change your environment, your thoughts follow, and when your thoughts expand, so does your life. Breaking the limits of your mind also requires resilience. You will fail, you will fall, you will have days when doubt tries to take over again. But that's where mental strength is built, in the moments you choose to get back up. Resilience isn't about never breaking, it's about never staying broken. Every setback is a test of how badly you want your vision. Every obstacle is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you're stronger than your fears. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't intelligence or talent. It's mindset. It's the refusal to accept defeat as final. It's the ability to keep believing when everything around you tells you not to. Your mind is the control center of your destiny. Whatever you feed it becomes your reality. If you feed it fear, you'll see obstacles. If you feed it courage, you'll see opportunities. If you want to live a limitless life, you must first think like a limitless person. That means replacing "I can't" with "I will." "I'm scared" with "I'm ready." And "I failed" with "I learned." Every thought you think either builds you up or tears you down. Choose your thoughts wisely. Choose thoughts that expand your vision, that challenge your fears, that remind you of your strength. So, break free from the mental chains that hold you back. Stop letting your doubts dictate your destiny. Your mind is your most powerful weapon. Use it to create, not to confine. The moment you decide to think beyond your limits, your entire life begins to shift. You start seeing possibilities where others see problems. You start believing in yourself at a level that makes others question how. That's the power of an unshackled mind. Remember this, you were never meant to live small. The only thing standing between you and the life you dream of is the belief that you can't have it. Break that belief, and you break every limit. Once your mind expands, it never goes back, and neither will you. The mindset shift from limitation to expansion. Everything in your life begins and ends with your mindset. The way you think determines how you act, and how you act determines what you achieve. Most people remain stuck in the same cycle for years not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity, but because they never shift their mindset from limitation to expansion. They live in a mental box built by fear, doubt, and routine, and they call it reality. But your reality isn't fixed, it's flexible. It's shaped by how you think, how you see yourself, and what you believe is possible. If you want to change your life, you must first change your thoughts. You must move from a limited mindset, where you believe you can only go so far, to an expansive one, where you realize there are no limits except the ones you create. A limited mindset is like trying to run a marathon with chains around your ankles. It keeps you small, afraid, and hesitant. You tell yourself stories like, "I'm not ready," "I'm not good enough," or "That's not possible for someone like me." You measure your potential based on your past instead of your possibilities. This kind of thinking traps you in mediocrity. It convinces you that comfort is safety, when in truth, comfort is the slowest form of decay. The longer you stay where it feels safe, the harder it becomes to grow. On the other hand, an expansive mindset is built on belief. Belief in your ability to grow, to adapt, and to evolve. It's the mindset that says, "I don't know how yet, but I will learn." It's not about knowing all the answers. It's about being willing to search for them. Evy Poumpouras often says that real strength starts in the mind. It's not about being fearless. It's about being courageous enough to face your fears and move anyway. That's the essence of an expansive mindset. The ability to take action despite uncertainty. People with this mindset don't see problems as permanent. They see them as challenges to overcome. They don't wait for the perfect moment, they create it. When life pushes them down, they don't say, "Why me?" They say, "Try me." Because they understand that growth is not found in avoiding struggle, but in embracing it. Every difficulty is a test of mental endurance, a chance to strengthen your mindset and prove to yourself that you can handle more than you think. To shift from limitation to expansion, you have to become aware of your mental patterns. Notice how often you think negatively about yourself or your future. Notice how many times you say, "I can't," before you've even tried. These are signs of a limited mindset. The first step to breaking it is self-awareness. You can't change what you don't see. Once you recognize your limiting thoughts, challenge them. Replace them with empowering questions like, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "What if this works out better than I imagined?" Your brain believes what you repeatedly tell it, so feed it with possibility instead of fear. Those small shifts in thinking will rewire your brain to expect growth instead of defeat. Another powerful way to cultivate an expansive mindset is to change your environment, your surroundings, especially the people you spend time with. Either feed your expansion or feed your limitation. If you're constantly around people who complain, doubt, and settle, you'll eventually adopt their mindset. But when you surround yourself with people who dream big, act boldly, and believe in progress, your mind naturally begins to stretch. Energy is contagious, so choose environments that lift you, challenge you, and inspire you. If you can't find those people in person, find them in books, videos, or mentors. The right influence can ignite a transformation in your thinking that changes your entire life. Growth also requires action. You can't think your way into an expansive life, you have to act your way into it. Every time you take a risk, try something new, or step into discomfort, your comfort zone expands. Action builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum, and momentum builds mastery. Most people wait for confidence before taking action, but it works the other way around. You build confidence by doing. The more you push through fear, the smaller it becomes. Every act of courage trains your mind to think bigger, to trust yourself more, and to believe that you're capable of handling whatever comes next. The shift from limitation to expansion also means changing your relationship with failure. Limited thinkers see failure as proof they're not good enough. Expansive thinkers see it as part of the process. They know that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the path to it. Every setback teaches a lesson, builds resilience, and brings you one step closer to your goal. When you stop fearing failure, you unlock a level of freedom most people never experience. You start taking bold actions because you're no longer driven by the need to be perfect. You're driven by the desire to grow. At the heart of this transformation is belief. You must believe that you are capable of change, no matter where you start. You must believe that your mind can expand, your skills can grow, and your life can improve. Limitation begins with disbelief, the quiet voice that says, "I can't." Expansion begins with faith, the stronger voice that says, "I can." You don't need to see the entire staircase. You just need to take the first step. Each step you take builds momentum, and each victory, no matter how small, strengthens your belief that more is possible. So, if you find yourself feeling stuck, uninspired, or uncertain, look inward. Ask yourself, am I thinking from limitation or expansion? Your answer will determine your direction. You have the power to break free from old patterns, to rise above fear, and to step into a new version of yourself. But that power begins in your thoughts. Shift them, and you shift everything. Stop telling yourself what you can't do, and start focusing on what you can become. The moment you move from limitation to expansion, life begins to open up in ways you never imagined. Opportunities appear, energy rises, and purpose becomes clear. The world doesn't change when you do more. It changes when you think bigger. That's the power of an expanded mind. It turns limits into lessons and possibilities into reality. You become what you believe everything you are today. Your habits, your confidence, your success, and even your struggles is a reflection of what you have believed about yourself. Belief is the invisible architect of your destiny. It shapes how you see yourself, how you act, and what you allow yourself to achieve. You don't live according to what's possible. You live according to what you believe is possible. That's why two people with the same talent and opportunity can end up with completely different outcomes. The one who believes in their potential rises, while the one who doubts it stays stuck. The power of belief is the foundation of growth, success, and transformation. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you deserve. From the moment we're born, the world starts teaching us what to believe. We're told what we can do, what we can't do, what's realistic, and what's too ambitious. Over time, these external voices become internal ones. You start to believe that maybe your dreams are too big or that success is for other people. These are not facts, they're just stories. And those stories silently shape your actions, your attitude, and your future. The truth is, the greatest limitations you face are not in your circumstances. They're in your beliefs. If you believe you're limited, you'll live limited. But if you believe you're powerful, capable, and deserving, your entire life begins to rise to meet that belief. Evy Poumpouras often says that your belief system is your armor. It protects you from doubt, rejection, and failure. When you believe in yourself deeply, nothing outside of you can break you. You become unshakable. Life will always throw challenges your way. That's inevitable. But your belief determines how you respond. A strong belief system doesn't mean you'll never face fear. It means fear will never stop you. When you know who you are and what you're capable of, you stop being defined by circumstances. You stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself approval. That's when life changes. When you no longer look for validation outside of yourself because you've already found it within. Belief is not just a feeling. It's a decision. It's choosing to trust yourself even when you have no evidence that things will work out. It's choosing to see potential where others see problems. It's deciding that no matter how many times you fall, you'll keep rising. The most successful people in the world weren't always confident or fearless. They simply believed that they could figure it out. They believed they were worthy of more. They believed their dreams had meaning, and that belief gave them the strength to keep going when others quit. Belief fuels persistence, and persistence builds success. Without belief, you won't even try. With belief, you'll keep trying until you win. But building belief takes work. You have to confront the lies you've told yourself. The ones that say, "I'm not enough, I'll never make it," or "I don't have what it takes." These lies are heavy, they keep you small. To replace them, you must feed your mind with truth and evidence of your strength. Start by remembering everything you've already overcome. Every challenge you faced, every obstacle you survived, every moment you thought you couldn't but did. That's proof of your capability. The more you acknowledge your progress, the stronger your belief becomes. Confidence is not built in comfort. It's built in the moments you push through doubt and realize you're stronger than you thought. Surrounding yourself with the right people also strengthens your belief. The company you keep either fuels your faith or feeds your fear. If you're around people who constantly doubt themselves and their dreams, that energy seeps into you. But if you spend time with those who think big, act boldly, and encourage growth, their belief becomes contagious. You start to see new possibilities. You start to mirror their mindset. Energy and belief are transferred. So choose wisely who you allow into your circle. Protect your mind from negativity, because your belief system is fragile when it's not yet solid. Feed it with positivity, encouragement, and action. Action is where belief turns into power. You can say you believe in yourself, but belief without action is just a wish. Every time you take a step, even a small one, you prove to yourself that you can. That proof becomes confidence, and that confidence reinforces belief. It's a cycle. Belief inspires action, action builds evidence, and evidence strengthens belief. This is how transformation happens, not overnight, but through consistent effort fueled by self-trust. You don't need to know the entire path, you just need to believe enough to take the next step. And with each step, your belief grows stronger, your vision becomes clearer, and your life begins to align with your potential. The truth is, life will always test your belief. There will be setbacks, failures, and moments when nothing makes sense. Those moments are not meant to break you. They're meant to strengthen your conviction. The universe tests those who are ready for more, not those who are meant to quit. When things get tough, that's when your belief matters most. Anyone can believe when it's easy, but true power comes from believing when it's hard. Keep your vision strong, even when your reality doesn't match it yet, because belief is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. So, take a moment to ask yourself, what do you truly believe about yourself? Do you believe you're capable of greatness, or do you secretly think you're not enough? Whatever you believe will show up in your life. If you want to change your results, change your beliefs first. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are what you decide to believe today. Believe in your strength, your resilience, your purpose. Believe that you have something valuable to offer the world. Believe that you're meant for more, because you are. Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your beliefs. Dream big, but more importantly, believe big. Because once you believe, your mind will find a way, your heart will stay committed, and your life will begin to transform. The moment you start believing in yourself, the world starts believing in you too. You don't need permission to become who you're meant to be. You just need belief. Believe deeply, act boldly, and never forget you become what you believe.